connected on YouTube. We are live on YouTube right now.
All right. Hello. Welcome back, everybody. I mean, whoever's there so far.
We're still connecting in two areas.
We're just getting connected to our like different streams right now. So I hope you're having a good day, morning, afternoon, wherever you're at. Just dealing with all the technicals and stuff. How are we looking on Instagram?
Instagram has not gone live yet. We're still waiting for
Cool.
this push.
Well, we're going live on many different places. YouTube, Bardo Brush YouTube channel, Bardo Brush Instagram account, my Lisa Bardo account on Instagram, and my two Facebook groups on Facebook, the Procreate community and the Making Art Everyday Bardo Brush Facebook group. So if you're here, welcome. I'm super happy to have you, and hopefully we can draw some more today and get a little creativity in our lives. Things are crazy and uncertain right now, but if we can kind of focus on the things we can do to stay positive, I think that's going to help out a lot. So yeah, we'll get started in just a minute as soon as everybody's up.
We're still waiting on Instagram and one more Facebook to connect.
We'll take a drink. Sorry about that.
We already got a couple questions already coming through.
Oh, sure. Questions already. Awesome.
How do you feel about the new iPad? It was a great one.
Oh, yeah. So if you haven't heard, Apple just released a new iPad today. It's very similar to the last iteration. This is what I have. It came out in late 2018. Except I think it has better cameras. Like it's got what the iPhone 11 has. Faster. Supposedly the screen's better. It's got a really rad keyboard thing that you can get with it that looks like it's supposed to be more like a laptop replacement now. The Apple Pencil shouldn't have changed. It should just take the same, Apple Pencil that the last iPad Pro that came out, which is the Apple Pencil Generation 2. That's what I have. And I know I'm going to get asked about this. So this is a decal, like a sticker I put on my Apple Pencil from a company called D Brand. So you can get one of those for yourself there. It wasn't very expensive. But yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm going to be replacing my iPad. This time around, I'm pretty happy with what I have. And it's I got the fastest one I could when that one came out. So, but still very exciting.
Melissa on YouTube's already asking, I was thinking about buying the iPad Pro. So what's the benefit of how do you feel with the Pro versus like the standard iPads?
I mean, the biggest difference for a Procreate user is that in the pencil that you can get. So if you don't get the Pro, you have to get the Generation 1 Generation 1 Apple Pencil, which charges by like sticking it into the charging slot here, and it like kind of sticks out awkwardly. And this one is just like always there, always charged, always ready to go. And it seems minor, but that's a big difference. And other than that, like it's just going to be the speed at which your iPad performs is going to be increased. And things like you might be able to get more layers because your layer count depends on how fast your iPad hardware is. But if I think any iPad, like especially if you're just, beginner, just starting out, wanting to learn, any iPad's going to do really, really well. So it's all just kind of based on your budget and what you can afford. Definitely get something that you can afford. You don't have to go balls to the wall. It's fine. But I usually do because that's how I am about Apple products. And also it's my job. So I like to get the best possible one that I can. So are we live everywhere now? We good?
Almost. We're going live in one more place. We're about to get Insta hopefully back on.
Cool. Maybe, is there any more questions while we're getting...
Lots of hellos. So
hello
there from Making Art Every Day. We've got a bunch of hellos.
Hi, Making Art Everyday people. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you guys are having fun with your illustrations still this month. I know like when you do a month of one thing, it can get a little tiring, and we're now in week 3. So stay strong, keep going. I hope this month is been motivational for you to kind of inject some of your personality into your artwork. I know it has been for me, like just choosing a theme that's super personal, which I'll talk about in a minute, but I'm drawing things that my kids like. And so it's very motivating for me to draw these because I'm really excited about the book I'm putting together to give to them. So sometimes having that personal connection to your art is a real big motivator. So never forget about that. Even if you are trying to do as many prompts as you can and you come up with something personal you want to do, like forget the prompts, do the personal thing. Like that's what this is all about, is just to get you to make art every day, and so that you can build up your skills. And when you do have something personal or something you want to express, you have the skills to be able to do it. So do the personal stuff. It's awesome.
We're waiting still on Insta.
Cool.
So, but we're live in both Facebook groups and YouTube right now.
Okay, well, Instagram, you guys might start a little late, but I'm going to go ahead and just get started. So the whole point of these lives, this is our third one this week. We've been doing them every day so far, and hopefully we'll keep doing them as often as we can because I really enjoy it a lot, and it's really fun to kind of draw and interact with you guys. So, but the whole idea is with everything that's going on with coronavirus and the world is up, it's just crazy right now. But the best thing that we can all do is just to stay home and stay away from people. So let's draw, stay home, draw, stay at your house, and find some creativity to still keep your life from not going crazy.
And a couple of people asked just like which iPad is best to draw with. And to be honest, guys, I mean, a lot of it comes down to budget. Like, so I know a lot of YouTubers are asking right now, like, which iPad to buy. Whichever one you can afford, right, for yourself to get started. I personally, I know you guys can't see me, Jeff, here, but I use the simple base iPad to draw with.
It's the 9.7-inch iPad. It's like the smallest one that you can, not the mini.
Expensive, yeah. The least expensive iPad's all I need. But I'm not a professional designer. Lisa is, which is why she needs the iPad Pro. So the whole spectrum of iPads will work great for you guys.
Just check and refurbished through Apple is also a really great way to go. Jeff and I both used to work for Apple for many, many years, and that's actually how we met each other. But their refurbished products are really great. They come with the same warranty as like the regular iPads. What? Oh, it looks like we need a scoot. Which way?
Here's where we're at.
Okay, hold on. I'm just adjusting my screen so the Instagram people can see it a little better. Seems like in the middle is probably better. But yeah, work within your budget. Don't be afraid to go refurbished from Apple.
A little wider if you could.
Check wider.
Yeah, or drop the table down, or no?
No.
Okay.
Can we see what it looks like?
This is where you're at. Right now.
Is it different than before?
No, I'm not seeing it going different yet.
Well, all right. Well, we'll see if
paused for some
we'll see if that updates. But
yeah, it's paused.
Thank you for bearing with us through all the technical stuff. We're still, like I said, this is our third Instagram live video, so we're still kind of working out the kinks of the technical stuff. But yeah. So cool. You okay or? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it keeps pausing for some crazy reason.
One more thing I was going to say about what iPad to choose is just double check on the Procreate website. They have a list of all the compatible models. So just make sure that it works with Procreate, that the hardware you're getting works with Procreate. And I would recommend if you get any iPad that it is compatible with an Apple Pencil, because the Apple Pencil is the best stylus to use to draw with it, bar none. There's nothing that is even close. So yeah, do that. Okay, so I'm gonna dive into Procreate. I know people are still coming in, but I'm gonna go over to Procreate and just kind of give you an intro of what I've been working on. So this month for the Making Art Every Day challenge, each month we do a different theme, and this month's theme for March is alphabet plus illustration. So you take each letter of the alphabet and then you do an illustration for it, or you can do do the letter in a cool way if you want to work on your lettering a little bit more. I'm doing like illustration and lettering together, And my theme I chose is things my kids like, because I am going to print it into a book to give to them as a gift. And I'm getting really, really close to being done. I kind of started later than everybody else, and I'm trying to finish before everybody else. So I'm doing them out of order, but that's okay. The last two that I have to do are T and N. I'm gonna be doing N today, which is nature. But yesterday, what was it, Monday? Monday we drew zoo, says my kids love the zoo. So we did a bunch of animals. And then yesterday we drew these waffles. My kids love waffles. And let's see, last night I drew, which one did I do last night? I finished up my mermaid drawing. So my daughter likes to pretend she's a mermaid when she's in the bathtub. So I kind of drew a mermaid in, our bathroom isn't pink, but that would be kind of cool if it was. But she likes to sit like that in the bathtub and pretend she's a mermaid with her like arms out and her legs in the water and stuff. So that one I did last night too. But I only got two more and I'm really excited. So we're gonna be doing nature. And this is a little thumbnail sketch that I did, and I've kind of shown you guys this every day, but I wanted to show you one more time. This is how I just like started planning out all of my illustrations for this book. I kind of figured out which pages would be next to each other on the spread, so I can make sure like the colors go good together and stuff like that. And then I saved this as, I exported it and saved it as an image to my camera roll, and then I imported it to my canvases and like blew it up. And so now I have like a very rough sketch that I can start to work with. So that's what I'm gonna do. So, and if you guys have questions, feel free to throw them into the comments. My husband, Jeff, is like my co-host and he's like monitoring all the comments so he can like shout out questions at me and that kind of stuff. So feel free to ask anything. That's kind of why we're doing this. So I'm starting here. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reduce the opacity of this layer. And you do that by just tapping on the little N, and then you can do the opacity down to, however. Doesn't have to be too dark. And then I'm gonna create another layer on top of that, and I'm gonna choose like a middle gray. And this is a cool trick. If you double tap there's 9 different points on the color wheel, it'll snap to different color values. So that's how I can pick like middle gray. And then I'm gonna choose my light pencil brush. I'm using the Gouache Paintbox set that I sell at bardobrush.com. And this is, I just released it, or I just updated it about a month ago. It's one of my most popular sets. People really like it. It's on its like 3rd generation now. I update it every now and then. But it was one of the first ones I released way back in 2016, early 2017, something around there. So yeah, include this brush so you can use it for all your sketches. I always like to include something in the set that you can sketch with, so you don't have to like be toggling between a million different sets.
Real quick, we did just gotta ask, what size canvas are you using as we're getting started?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, drinking. This is a 5,000 by 5,000 square canvas, and I usually go bigger than I need because if I need to crop it down or something later, I have that flexibility, but you can never go bigger once you go, if you start small. So I tend to start with canvases that are like 4,000 or 5,000 pixels on one side, but I like to work big. So, okay. So this scene is just kind of like the word I'm doing is nature, and this is just kind of like a combination of different elements of nature, so it's not like any place in particular, so it's going to kind of just be like a really stylized version. But so I'm just going to start, and I'm going to do like simple basic shapes. I'm not going to go like, this is not going to be like a detailed, super realistic, illustration. I'm kind of going to go with a more stylized approach. And to me, that means like really simplifying the shapes and stuff. So, and then like some kind of, I don't know, waves, that cartoony kind of waves. Maybe I need one more over here. Oh, that one looks bad. Why is it like so hard to draw? I can do it if I go this way, but I can't do it this way. That's funny. So you know what I can do? I can select a part of this Copy and paste. I swipe down with 3 fingers and I pull up the copy paste menu. And now I can just, oh, look at that. Cheating. No, it's not cheating. It's being smart with your tools. Whatever. Maybe I'll make it bigger. Okay, cool. That works. And now I'm gonna merge that down with the previous layer. Now both of those. Yeah, cool. Okay, I like that. And then I'm gonna put some like palm trees coming up right here. Maybe that one can go up a little higher than I thought. I'm being pretty loose with it. This is just giving me like a basic guideline of where things are gonna go. And then this back here is supposed to be like, kind of like Half Dome in Yosemite. They really like, well, my son especially. My daughter hasn't had as much experience in Yosemite. We live a few hours away from it, so it's not like 3.5 hours away. It's not too far for us. So we have been a few times with my son. And he went through this phase a couple years ago where he likes to plan out his birthday parties like really early. Like his birthday's in December. Maybe I'll have that coming out the side. And then in like February or something, he just like starts planning his birthday party. And he went through a phase where he wanted to have all his friends go camping in Yosemite for Christmas or for his birthday, which happens to be, like I said, in December, which is when it like is super cold and snows. So it wasn't a possibility, but we do want to take him camping in Yosemite sometime soon. We just haven't gotten to do it lately. All right. I'm just moving the sun. Kind of messed it up. I want the sun to be coming from behind the mountain, but like somehow drawing a part of a circle is harder than drawing the entire circle and just moving it over. So that's why I did it that way. All right. So this is my sketch. The only thing I don't have is the word nature worked into this, which I do need. So I gotta figure out, maybe I could do it down here. I can make it like small down there. We'll just maybe go with that for now. Like I'll do like nature and it could be overlapping some of this. Nope, that's not how you spell. All right, yeah, I might change that up later, but I think that's fine for now. So this is my sketch that I'm gonna work with for the whole drawing. I'm gonna turn off this original really loose sketch, and then I'm going to turn the opacity of that layer down pretty far. And I always set my blend mode, which are these things down here. The blend modes affect how the layer interacts with the layers beneath it. I'm gonna set it to multiply, and that means that if it's on top of any color on layers underneath it, it will look darker. There's a more technical explanation, but that's what I'm going with right now. And then I'm gonna create a layer right below. I always keep my sketch layer at the very top, so I can always see it. So now, as I'm approaching this drawing, like I'm looking at it and you can see that like certain things overlap each other. So I usually start with whatever is in the back first. And obviously the first thing I can start with is the background color. For a lot of those thumbnail sketches, I tried to figure out what colors I was gonna use ahead of time, but I didn't do it for this one. So I'm kind of figuring out on the fly. So I'm probably gonna do like some kind of blue for the background, like a sky blue, maybe like that. And then the thing that's in the background is probably this mountain. So I'll start there and deciding if I want it to be gray or brown. I don't know, maybe a grayish brown. And I'm gonna start my basic shapes and just filling in like the whole area. And that's kind of what I do, is I do the shape and then I add like texture and shading and then like detail work. That's kind of my workflow. So for the shapes, I'm using the opaque round brush from Gouache Paintbox. I'm pretty much, if you've been watching all week, I'm kind of following the same workflow for each drawing just because I want them to have the same feel. This is by no means the only way to use this set. There's a million different ways to use this set, but this is the way I've been using it for this series since I'm trying to make them all feel similar. So I'm using Opaque Round, which is a brush with not a lot of texture on the edges. It's really good for filling in shapes. So that's where we're at with that one. All right, so I'm just gonna go, and I'm not, this is gonna get covered up by more layers, but it's okay for now that it just goes behind there. And then I can just fill that in. I'm checking right here, because if you see there's like a little bit where the color fill touches the edge. And sometimes in really textured brushes, this little white, it might be hard to see on camera, is really pronounced. And people don't sometimes know why that's happening. And you can correct it by dragging and holding. And then I haven't lifted my pencil yet, but you see this blue line? That adjusts the color drop threshold. So if you turn it all the way up, it's gonna like bleed out everywhere. But if you turn it like way down, that line will be even more pronounced. So I'm gonna go like almost all the way up. And then if this brush has a little bit of a textured edge, so you don't always get rid of it completely. So you just gotta kind of go over it a little bit more. Cool, so there's my mountain, easy. The next thing is probably gonna be this like half dome kind of thing. So for that, I am gonna use gray because what's it made of? Granite or something? Oops, I forgot to create a new layer. So I'm gonna put that on a new layer so I can go back and shade the mountain independently, and all these different things that overlap on each other will be on separate layers. So I can work on them independently. So I'm gonna create a new layer, and then I'll just, it doesn't really matter what the bottom looks like because that's gonna get covered up. And then if I want to use color drop to fill this in, I do need to make sure that the shape is closed. Otherwise it'll just spill out over the whole paper. Actually, I don't need to close that. There we go. I probably didn't need to draw that line, but that's fine. Okay, so we got mountain, half dome. I think the water is gonna be the next one. So I'm gonna create another layer, and that's gonna be for the water, which, what color do I wanna do? Maybe we'll go more like a cooler blue, and I might change the colors later.
Real quick, Matthew over on YouTube was asking, hey, I just subscribed to your newsletter yesterday. When
Yes.
can I expect a draw everyday prompt for today?
Good question. So the emails go out once a week on Sunday morning, your local time. So that's when they go out, and you get all the prompts at once. But they also are on makingarteveryday.com is where you can see the daily prompts. And if you go there, I'll show you that really quick. I'm gonna use, this is how I intended this website to work, is basically you use split screen view. So you pull up your little dock, you get Safari, you drag it over here to the side, kind of make it smaller, and then go to makingarteveryday.com. And there you will see the daily prompts. So they're all letters of the alphabet this month. And then you can click on one or tap on one, and it will give you a Google image search for that thing. So for this month, I just decided to do things that start with, and then whatever the letter is, just to give you some ideas. But usually, like if the word was rose, then it would say rose on there. You'd tap it and it would go to a Google image search of rose pictures. So you have easy reference photos right there. But definitely sign up for the email because you get the prompts before they're up on this website. That's where if you want to get the prompts first before anybody else or before anywhere else, then the email newsletter, which it just popped up. So that's how you sign up. And I usually put a link to it in my Instagram stories every Monday. So on Bardo Brush. So I'm gonna get rid of that for now. I'm not really using reference photos today. At least I don't think I am. We'll see. Okay, so there's that, and I'll fill that in. And then I want the tips of my waves not to be so curved like this. So I'm gonna use the eraser tool for that. And the eraser I'm using is the same opaque round brush. A quick tip, if you tap, so I'm using the brush and then I tap and hold the eraser, it's gonna automatically select whatever brush I had selected as my brush, basically. So it's a quick way to like get that same brush to use as your eraser. I'll get rid of that. So then I'm gonna use it to just kind of erase away a little bit, and then I get a nice little point there. So that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do on these. And I use the eraser a lot to make it easier for me to get the perfect shape. Yesterday when we did waffles, that's what we drew yesterday, I used it a lot and it was really helpful because you kind of just like, I haphazardly filled in an area and then erased parts of it away, and it was a really fast way to fill a lot of shapes, if that makes sense. Probably would make more sense if you watched it. Cool, so I've got some waves, they have pointy tips, awesome. The next thing I'm gonna do is the trees. These could be on the same layer because the trees don't actually touch each other. But I'll probably just put them on different layers just because I know I'm not gonna use a ton of layers on this that I know of. So at this canvas size on this iPad, I think I get about 17 layers. Okay, so I'm gonna create a layer above that. I'll do this kind of redwood tree first. So I'm gonna choose like a reddish, brownish color. I'm using that same opaque round brush. I think what I will do in this case is I'll put the trunk and the tree on a separate layer. Because I can always combine layers later, but if once they're together, then they're together, so that's what I'll do. Like if things that are touching that are the same color, and I want this kind of graphic look, not too painterly, then I'll put them on different layers. Hope that makes sense. Let me know if you need me to clarify anything I'm explaining. I'm happy to explain it better if I can. Okay, so I'm just filling in the outline of that shape and then filling it in like that. It's very easy. And then again, I want pointier edges here, so I'm gonna get the eraser. And let me see. There we go, easy. Ah. And this side as well. Oops. Okay, and the top. Want that to be kind of pointy. Okay. Yeah. All right. Trying to get that edge perfect, but it's fine. All right, so we've got a tree, and now we're gonna do the palm trees, and maybe I'll do all the trunks on the same layer, and I'm gonna get a color similar to this one, but probably, palm trees, maybe a little yellower. I don't know what color. Doesn't matter, they're my palm trees. They can be whatever color I decide them to be. There we go, nice skinny trunks. There we go. Okay, I got 2 palm trees, and then I'm gonna do the branches on the same layer as the trio here. I'm gonna choose like a limey green, maybe a little more yellow. So they'll be like bright and vibrant, like something tropical. And I'm sure I'll go back and make the edges pointy, like I showed you guys a second ago. If you have any questions while I'm going through?
Let's see a couple of this. Are you on Insta? We are on Insta. Oh, and someone put it up there, which is perfect.
Oh, thanks, someone.
We did get another D-brand question in there. Another one that's asked a couple times. Do you have free brushes? That's a great one.
Not currently, but I do have some in mind that I plan on making and releasing, and probably signing up for the email newsletter is going to be the best way to hear about those. But yeah, I have some ideas. I don't know if I want to reveal them quite yet, but something to look forward to. I do have lots of other free stuff though. On my website, we have a color palette library, Procreate color palette library. Maybe Jeff can put a link to that in somewhere. If it's do you know how to find it, Jeff?
I do.
I need to put it in my like navigation. I didn't put it in there on my website. But it has like 60 or something Procreate color palettes that you can download for free and put into your Procreate and then use them to just work on whatever you want. I also have a blog post about how to use a color palette. So like sometimes you'll get a color palette and you're like, I don't know what colors to put where, like what do I do with these colors? And that's what that article is about. So maybe you can grab that, Jeff, and put it in there as well. It's in the blog. It's the one about, or actually it's on the tutorials page about like working with a color palette, how to use a color palette. And on that post, there actually is a link to the palette library as well. So I also, do making art every day, and that's all free. I don't, it's free. Join. Lots of good resources, lots of tutorials. I also have another web page that you can find by going to idon'tknowwhattodraw.com. And this is a random idea generator, and I'm just gonna pull it up because it always cracks me up. You can also find it under tools, what should I draw, on my website. I have a lot of tabs open. So this is the like random idea generator. You should draw an itchy champagne that is doing a week's worth of cackling. And they're like totally like weird random things. And you can like tap that to get a new idea. You should draw a crooked badger that is doing a whole bunch of smiling. And if that's too complicated, there's like a simpler idea down here. Draw a nutcracker. And then there's also, you can download the palettes this way. It just gives you a random color palette for you to work with. I'll do one more. Let's see what we get. You should draw an enjoyable UFO that is doing some blushing. That would be very interesting to see. So if you just want like a random idea, that's a good one to use. And you can also contribute words if you want. At the bottom, there's a link and you can add some words to contribute to the idea generator. Okay, so I've got my palm trees. I've got to do the sun and the clouds, so I'll probably put those on the same layer, but it'll be underneath everything else. So we gotta get a nice sunny yellow. And really quickly, like if you aren't very good at drawing circles, it's definitely a skill. Procreate has a really great feature called Quick Shape and also Quick Line, but Quick Shape is what I'm going to show you. If you draw a circle and then don't let your pencil up, it will turn into a shape that you can edit. And then if you take another finger and put it down, it becomes a perfect circle. So that's a really quick way to get a circle. And it also works with like squares. And you can hold down a pen. Yep, there, now it's a perfect square if you put another finger down. Triangles, arcs, lines are also really handy. So if you draw a really, let me get black. If you draw a really wobbly line and you don't let go, boom, you get a straight line. And then if you put one finger down, it like snaps. So if you want like a perfectly horizontal line, that's a good way to get it. All right, let me go back to my yellow. I'm gonna probably add the lines later with a different brush, so I'll come back to that. But I'll put the clouds on the same layer too, because they're not touching the sun, so that's fine. If things aren't touching, put them on the same layer. That's a good way to save in your layer count, because you only get so many when you're working in Procreate. And yeah, I'm sure it reduces your file size and all that, but I usually just get like the biggest hard drive size that I can, because I know I'm not very good about being cognizant of my storage space on my devices. When I run out, I'm like, okay, I guess I'll do something about it. There we go. All right, so we've got all the elements now. Colors are looking okay. I still might do some, that blue is a little, I don't know. It's not like vibrant enough for me, so maybe I'll start there with the color so I can get the colors I want. So I'm gonna select that layer And because it's all on one layer, I can just go right into the adjustments menu, hue, saturation, brightness, and I can just start to play around with the color and get it to what I want it. So maybe, do I want it to be lighter, more saturated, like more towards purple or more towards green? Kind of like the green a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, I kind of like that a little bit better. I usually tend to make my blues more warm. Like aqua and teal are pretty much my favorite colors. And if you were at my house, you would see that like almost everything that I get is like one of those two colors mixed in with like all the other rainbow colors. But those are like my neutrals, have you will. Yeah. Okay, so I've got all my shapes done. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of snow to the mountain. So for that one, I'm gonna go to the mountain layer, I'll create a new layer right above that. And I want the snow to just be like, you know, over the tip of the mountain. So I'm gonna use a clipping mask for that. So I'm gonna select the layer and tap clipping mask. And so anything I draw on this new layer, it will only show if it's within this shape of the mountain. So I'm gonna get white, which I actually already have. And maybe I'll choose like a more textured brush for this one. Like the Dry Supreme. I'm gonna try that out. It's got a really nice texture to it. Again, I'm using Gouache Paintbox for this drawing. I kind of like that, but I'm gonna do it again. Cool, so I'm gonna fill it in. And it has kind of just like a nice texture to it. I really love this brush a lot. When I was, like, this is the brush I've always wanted to include in a gouache set. It's just like that like nice dry brush texture that you see a lot in gouache, and I was finally able to make what I envisioned it to be in my head when Procreate 5 came out, because they had a ton of new features in their brush studio, like what I used to make the brushes. So that was really exciting, and I'm glad to finally have the brush that I've always wanted in the set.
One thing to ask, someone was asking about the master bundle, if it includes future brushes, do we need to buy them again? Just how
so the way that the master bundle works is you get all the sets that I currently have, and then whenever I release an update to a set, so like Gouache Paintbox I updated about a month ago, and it was just an update to a set that already exists. Like Gouache Paintbox has been around since the beginning, so everybody that owns it already, including Master Bundle owners, got that update for free. And then any new sets that I come up with, so if I'm like working on a new set that didn't exist before, those you can get a 30% discount off of if you are a Master Bundle owner. So anytime I release a new set, you can just go to the website and log in your account, and you'll automatically get that discount. So yeah, that's how that works.
And then we also had a good question over on Facebook. Do you always draw with your iPad at the angle that you have it at? I struggle with the case I have on mine. It's at the wrong angle.
Do you mean like the angle this way?
Yes, yeah.
I have my iPad. I do like working at an angle, yes. Working flat is a lot more difficult for me. So all the cases that I've ever had have some way to prop it up. But this I'm actually using is, I'll show you my stand. I have a like heavy duty stand that I got by Elevation Lab. I got it on Instagram, or I got it on Amazon. And it's like really heavy metal, and it's got these 3 different like heights that you can tilt it to. I usually use the middle one, but for the video I'm using the shorter one. You still see? So I really love that stand, and I have it on my computer. But then when I'm working in the house or something, I usually just use the like, you know, this like triangle thing that most cases have, which I don't love. I liked my old iPad case better for that, but I haven't found a really good case that I love for this iPad, so But yeah, tilting it is really helpful for me. Okay, so I want to add some texture to the mountain, and the way I've been doing this in all the other drawings is by adding like a brush strokey painterly texture, which is really easy to do with this set. So the brush I'm going to use for that is, I think I'm going to use the deep edge brush strokes. I include 4 different brush strokes brushes, which give you that like painterly brush stroke look, which you'll just see in a minute. So I'm selecting that color. I'm gonna go to the layer with the mountain and turn on alpha lock. Probably gonna make the brush size pretty big. And then I'm just gonna like paint in some strokes. And this is designed to like make it look like you could actually see the edges of your paintbrush like you would in real life. Because in digital, things can very easily look flat. Like I could have not added any texture to this, and that would have been a style, but that's not what I wanted to do for this. I'm gonna try to like make it more regular maybe, I don't know. I'm just playing around. I don't know if I want it to be like so stripey looking, because mountains are organic. So yeah, so you can get some of that texture. And then the other thing that I'm gonna do is I also have these brushes called the gouache grain brushes, and these add kind of like the grain you would see in traditional paint, like gouache paint, kind of like the paper texture and the way that the paint grains together. I'm sure that's a technical term. So I'm still using the same color, and see I'm just adding every now and then just a little bit of speckly grain texture. And I think that's gonna give it a nice look for this mountain. I also use these brushes a lot as shaders, which I might do a little bit on the edges, like a darker color. I don't know. Maybe it's darker down here, I don't know. Just kind of experimenting and playing around and stuff. So now it's like, it's got some texture. It's not that just like flat color. So I'm gonna leave the mountain like that for now, and I'm gonna move over to like our little half dome. So for the half dome, I'll probably do something similar. I'm gonna grab that color, I'm gonna turn on alpha lock, swipe to the right with 2 fingers. That means I can't draw outside of the shape. So I'm drawing on the same layer, but I can't draw beyond the shape that I've already drawn. So that's what alpha lock does. I'll go to light brush, or what is it, deep edge brush strokes. I'm actually gonna try jumbo brush strokes, and this brush is like a brush stroke brush, but it's like really big. So if you don't want to have the brush strokes look so fine, you can use this one. And I'm kind of like just being random with it. Just seeing if I like that or not. If not, I might do it differently. I don't know. Natural things are hard. I generally, like, that's not usually in my repertoire, is like drawing nature things, except for food. Because they're so organic and random. But that looks pretty good. I'm gonna get the soft gouache grain brush and add some of the grain texture too. Actually, I'm gonna get the dotty gouache grain, which is another grain that just has more like of a dotty texture, and I think that might be good for like the granite, like a really big, kind of give it that rocky look.
Someone's asking which brush set you're using right now.
Yep, this is Gouache Paintbox. This is one of the sets that I made. You can find it at bardobrush.com. All my brush sets are on sale right now. I'm running a sale, so if you want to try them out, this is a good time to do it.
And someone's just asking, when you recolor with a different brush, how does it show?
Yeah.
It's not working for me.
When you recolor, what do you mean?
Well, Tara, what do you mean? We'd be glad to talk about that a little bit with you.
All right, so I'm gonna add some more lighter texture. So you can see like the dotty just adds like a really nice kind of dotty grain texture. And this side should be in shadow. Like I feel like, well, the sun is right there. Not that I'm doing like realistic shading or anything, but this would be lighter and this would be darker. So I'm probably gonna lighten up this side. And I could just paint over it with lighter strokes, but I might try something different. using a clipping mask. So I'm gonna go to that layer, click plus to add another layer, and I'm gonna turn on screen mode. So that's a blend mode. So like I was saying, like the different blend modes affect the way two layers interact with each other, and this one makes things lighter. It's more complicated than that, but that's multiply I usually use to make things darker, screen to make things lighter, while still being able to show like the texture that's already there. I do want to make a video on blend modes because they can be a bit overwhelming if you don't know it like much about them. And so you can kind of see this. The color I have selected is really light, it's too light, but I can still see what's underneath it. So I'm actually gonna choose a darker color. And I forgot to turn on the clipping mask, so that's why it's like going around the edge here. So I'm gonna tap on that and choose clipping mask, and now it's staying within the confines of that shape, of the layer below it. So I'm just gonna fill this in. It's probably lighter than I want it to be, but I can adjust that with like the hue, saturation, brightness. I could also adjust that with, I don't know what half dome actually does. Does it go like that? Maybe a little more wavy? Who knows? I mean, I'm sure some people know. I could look it up, but that's okay. So now I think I'm gonna also add some texture to this. Let's see what that does. Maybe go like a darker. I don't know if that's gonna do anything. Well, a little bit. I think I want it to be like darker down here. So there's a couple ways I could do that. So when you're on like screen, the screen blend mode, anything that is black will become like transparent. And when you're on multiply blend mode, anything that is white will become transparent. So I'm sure that doesn't clear it up, but okay. So I still want it to be even darker than this. So I think I'm just gonna go back to the like the half dome layer and just add some darker shades down here with the same brush. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Okay, I kind of like the way that looks. And then I might do some darker tones here as well, maybe down here. So yeah, I love this brush. I'm using again I'm using soft gouache grain this time, but you can get this really like stippled kind of grainy shading texture as well. And I'm really liking the way that looks. Pretty sure there's like a crack in it. Maybe I'll look up a photo of half dome and see if I want to make it more, sometimes that dock thing doesn't work very well. If I want to make it more like accurate to how it actually looks. So let's see. I'm just going off memory right now, what I think it looks like. Oh, half dome. And the angle is like, if you've ever been to Yosemite, there's that like tunnel view when you go up to the top out of the tunnel. That's the kind of angle that's in my mind. So it kind of is like, that's a little taller. I don't know how accurate I want this to be, but I could not worry about it. But maybe I'll make it more like organic looking up there. Again, it's your art, so you can make whatever choices you want to about it. It doesn't have to be, you know, accurate to how things look in real life. So I think it's fine. I'm not gonna go too crazy with it. So, okay, I'm gonna drink some water. And then
We're still not on Insta, just heads up. We're about to hopefully come back to Insta.
Oh, did it? Oh.
It's been, it's a mess on the TikTok.
All right, Instagram's not working. Sorry, Instagram. But if you want to keep watching these, I probably think that YouTube is going to be your best bet, yeah?
YouTube is one of our best bets.
Yeah, YouTube's probably going to be the most reliable, and it lasts forever there. I'm not sure how it works on Facebook, but the Facebook stuff just gets lost. So YouTube, I'm trying to save all these videos in like a playlist, like the live videos playlist, so you can go back and watch them later. So YouTube's probably your best bet for watching these, and then you get the whole like horizontal view, whereas Instagram's cropped. So yep. I think you can watch it on your computer, which is better.
I have a couple of Facebook questions just asking what brush set you're using right now.
This is Gouache Paintbox. That's what I'm using right now. Okay, so I'm happy with my like half dome. Mountain's pretty good. I think I'm gonna do the water. Water is tricky. So I'm not gonna try and do anything realistic here. I think I'm just gonna add a little bit of texture to it. Really simple. So I'm gonna turn on Alpha Lock. I'm using, I'll start with light brush strokes. So this again will add some brush stroke texture. I'm using my Gouache Paintbox set. I think I can turn off my sketch now. I'm pretty well set. Sometimes if you leave your sketch on when you're working, it can kind of skew the way that you see your piece. So turning it off is good so you can see it for like what it is, if that makes sense. So maybe I'm just gonna kind of like, these brush strokes aren't super obvious. So maybe I'm gonna use, sometimes on lighter colors, you don't see the brush strokes as defined. I'm gonna try the deep edge brush strokes, and that gives me a bit more definition in my brush strokes. So yeah, I think that's better. So I'm gonna try and like make it look wavy somehow. Yeah, I think that works pretty good. So it's just to give you a little bit more texture, to not make it look so flat and digital, to make it look a little more painterly. So it looks like what actual brush strokes might look like. But way easier because it's digital. For some. Both digital and traditional medias are both skills. They're both art. So if anybody tries to tell you digital art is not art, they are wrong, and they're probably just jelly because they don't know how to use Procreate or something like that. So this looks good. I think it has like a lot of nice motion now. You've got like kind of some wavy texture. I might come in with like a little bit darker blue, just a little bit, and maybe add some more wavy texture. But yeah, traditional and digital medias, they both are skills that you have to learn, and you can make whatever art you want with them. They're just a little different, just like painting and sculpture or any other type of media, video, you know, making films, and they're all just different types of making things. Not one is more better than the other. That was great grammar on that sentence. All right, I'm gonna add some grain texture to that as well. So I'll probably just go back to this lighter blue, or I'll go to my history and choose that lighter blue. If you don't see this little history area, it might be because your iPad screen is on the smaller side. It's only something that's on the bigger iPads. And when I actually got to meet the Procreate team in September at Lightbox Expo and preview Procreate 5 before it came out. It was really awesome, and they are such great people. I cannot say enough good things about the team at Procreate. They are just so passionate and kind, and I loved getting to meet them. I forgot why I started talking about going to Lightbox. But yeah, the team is awesome, and I love getting to support them and what they do. And honestly, I wish you guys need like a donate box on your website. Like $10 for what you get for this program is just such a great value. Am I in the right layer? Yeah. And I just want to like give you more money because yeah.
It's been asked a couple times, but
that's looking good.
What are you using first? Are you using a screen protector? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What's going on?
I am using a screen protector. This is a matte glass screen protector. I link to the one I use in my FAQ page, which is bartobrush.com/FAQ. And It's a brand I found on Amazon, and it's very smooth. It gives me a nice smooth feel when I draw with it. A lot of people ask about the paper-like screen protectors, which I haven't tried, but they sent me some and they're sitting on my desk. So I just need to like try it out. So maybe I'll do that in one of these videos and I can tell you what I think of it. But I do like the smooth feel. So I think that's why I'm like not itching to go to Paperlike, because theirs is supposed to be like a papery textured feel. I'm not quite sure how I feel about it yet. So some people like it. Yet to be seen with me. Okay, so I love the water. It's looking good. Just a little bit of texture, and I think that's great. So I'm gonna go, let's work on our tree. I'm gonna go to the trunk layer, turn alpha lock on that, and let's do, I'm gonna start with this bristle brush strokes. So this is brush strokes with like, they're more thin and bristly, which might be good for bark, kind of like a barky texture. See how you can, it's like that instead of like a thick line. So I'm just kind of like wiggling my brush down to add a little bit of texture there. I think that looks awesome, actually. I'm really happy with that. I'm gonna go a little darker. You can, I always, when I do brush strokes, I always just use the color of whatever shape I am using. And then if I want to make them even more pronounced, I can use like a darker or a lighter color. And since it's bark, I think that will work well. Another way I could probably make bark, which I'm going to try right now, is with the bristle painter brush, which is one of my favorites from the Gouache Paintbox set. It's really good for like hair and fur and those kind of textures, but I'm going to try it for, I've used it for wood grain before, so I bet it would be great for bark. So I'm just gonna get like maybe a darker color, and
a bunch of people have been asking what's your favorite brush sets, which I know that one.
Oh yeah, what's my favorite brush set? It changes all the time. I feel like it changes every time I make a new set. I get really excited about it, and then I just use it for a long time, and then I like start making a new set and I use that one for a long time. But my current favorite is Gouache Paintbox. That's why I'm using it to do all of these illustrations. I think that's looking really good. But some other favorites are probably, well, I love using Magic Paper, which is another product that I have, which is actually, I'll have to do a video of that one day because that's be really cool to see live. But it adds like this really amazing texture. It's not, it's a canvas, not a brush, but it does come with some brushes, so I'm not explaining that very well. It'd be probably better to see it as a video. But I really like that one. And then like the Texturific set is also really great for like textured brushes. I really like that one a lot. And then one of my favorites to work with is the multi-tonal markers, and they have kind of a learning curve to work with. I have a tutorial about them on my YouTube channel and on my tutorials page on my website, which you can see. But they have this really cool textured effect, and it's just like unlike anything I've ever seen in Procreate. But they are kind of like, you gotta learn to work with them. So yeah. So I like this. I think it looks great. Looks like wood. So I'm gonna do the tree now. So I'll go to that layer, turn on alpha lock, select that same green color, and let's do, maybe we'll try bristle brush strokes, the bristly one, because you know trees are like that. That's probably how they would look, more kind of like that. So it's really subtle. I love subtle texture. That's not too like, I don't know, I like how it's like a little soft. And maybe I'll get a darker green and go like at the bottom, down here at the bottom of the like branches. Why not? Just trying things, you know? That's what it's about. I think that looks pretty good. I'm not gonna add too much to that. And then let's go over to these now, and I'm going to the layer with the tree trunks. I'm gonna select this, and for the palm trees, let me see. I've got a couple ideas about what I wanna do. I'll try it like this, but I think I'm gonna add some line work to these to make them look more palm tree like. So I'm just adding a really subtle painterly texture to that. And I'm gonna come back to that. So I'm gonna come back to those because I have an idea about what I wanna do. I'm gonna do all the palm tree fronds, branches, I don't know. Fronds, I think, right? I'll use, and for these, I think I'm gonna do what I'm thinking about doing for this, which is to add some line work on top to give it, to like do those like, you know, the lines that go like that. Very descriptive. But I just wanna add that painterly texture to these. And it really makes, like, look at the difference between like this one and this one. This, it's a little darker, but like that just looks like it was done with paintbrush, and this just looks like flat and digital. So that's why I love this set. I'm just doing really like short little strokes. The more you layer strokes, like the different it looks. If you do heavy pressure with these brush stroke brushes, it'll look different. It'll look more solid, but like light brush strokes are how you get more of the texture. So I really like that a lot. Okay, so that's all been painted up. I'm gonna do the sun, and then I'll come back to that. So I'm gonna go to the sun, which is this layer. Oops. Swipe right with 2 fingers, so turn on alpha lock, selecting that yellow, and we're gonna do the deep edge brush strokes. Now the yellow I selected is like a really saturated yellow. There's not, if you go to value, you can kind of see the values of your color. There's not a lot of black, it's very saturated. So with the saturated colors, you don't see the brush strokes as much because they do need a little bit of black in them to see it. So I'm gonna change my color for this a little bit. I'm gonna go a little orangier, maybe just a smidge darker. I don't know what's going on here. Okay, I showed it to you. I'm not even on the right layer. That's probably why you didn't see it. Okay, so now I'm on the right layer. So I'll show it to you one more time. But you can kind of see it. They're just not as pronounced. So if you want it to be more pronounced, you could choose a color that contrasts a little bit more, like that. So I'm just gonna like go over once with that. And then maybe go over it again with like a lighter one, just to kind of mix in those different shades. I really like the way that that's looking now. Oops, too much on that side. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'm kind of getting this like swirly sun thing happening. Cool, I think that looks pretty neat. Okay, and then for the clouds, I will add a little bit of texture because now everything is looking really textured, so these clouds are looking pretty flat. And now white, obviously...
We're live on Insta.
Oh, cool. Welcome, Instagram. Jeff just told me we're live on Instagram, so I've been working on this nature illustration using my Gouache Paintbox. This is for making art every day, the ABC theme that we're doing for the month. So I'm illustrating the word N, which is nature. So yeah, it's been going pretty good. So I'm just about to add some texture to the clouds. Still on the cloud layer. So I'm just gonna choose like a little gray, little bit of gray. And I'm gonna get like the gouache grain brush and just add just a little bit of texture to this. Kind of mostly near the bottom because clouds are like shadowed at their shadows would be at the bottom. Usually when the sun is above them, the sun is not, but we'll pretend. Stylizing is kind of about making observations about the way things look in general and how they translate to people. Like clouds usually have shadows underneath them because the sun is above them. And so we'll put some shadows under them, even though it doesn't make, realistic sense because the sun is to the side of it in this picture. But that's the choice that you make to stylize something. So I hope that makes sense. So cool, so we've got a little texture on there. So now I'm gonna add a little, I'm pretty happy with this as it is, but I'm gonna try adding a little bit of line work. Like I plan on doing it for the palm trees. So I'm gonna create a layer above all the other layers, and I'm gonna use one of my favorite line brushes from this set, which is the Gritty Tilt Liner. I've been using it consistently for this whole series, so I'm kind of trying to keep it looking consistent. And then I'm gonna get this green, I'll just select that, and then I'm gonna get a little cooler, a little darker version of that green. So yeah, that looks pretty good. And now I'm gonna try just adding maybe a little smaller brush size, like that. A little bit of the, I don't know what you would call those things, but actually I think it would look more like this. And this is where, if you're unsure of like how it looks in real life, like, yeah, I think that's probably, it looked more like a leaf the other way, and this looks more like a palm tree frond. So, I don't know, I'll try it. This is on another layer. I put the line work on another layer so I can erase it and edit it, and it's not affecting what have already drawn. So if I don't like it, it's really easy to get rid of it. And let's do this one. Any questions while I'm...
We did have one. Can you, do you have any plans to do a watercolor brush set for Procreate 5?
Ooh, yes. Well, I do have a watercolor set, but I know that with Procreate 5, what is possible with watercolor, and I've already been experimenting with different watercolor type brushes, and one of those experiments is included in this set, which is the Gouache wash brush. It's got a really cool watercolor texture, which you kind of control with the tilt and the pressure of your Apple Pencil. But I do want to work on some different kind of watercolor brushes that feel more natural, like they feel like using actual watercolors, because I know what's capable with the Procreate 5 now. So that's something to maybe look forward to for you guys in the future from me. But for now, Wash and Dry Watercolor Toolkit is my kind of watercolor-esque brush set. And you can make some really awesome wash textures with that. And it's, so wash and dry. It comes with the wash textures and then also a bunch of really awesome dry brushes. And they're meant to complement each other and work together really well and look really awesome together. So cool. Yeah, I think I like that with a little bit of line work on it. Exactly on the edge there. Any more questions, you guys? Feel free to shoot them at me. I'm just drawing a bunch of lines, so it's not that interesting right now. Any questions, Jeff?
Gabriel over on YouTube saying add some coconuts. So just,
add some coconuts.
And actually, I saw this one pop up earlier, and we should have asked this. This is a great question, Matthew. How do you get ideas for drawing for arts when you hit artist's block?
Oh,
that's a great question.
That is a great question, and that is why I created the Making Art Everyday project, because or challenge. I don't know, call it a project or a challenge, but so I have daily prompts that I create for you guys. I come up with, and we follow a theme every month. So there's always something for you to draw if you don't have an idea of what to draw. Like I created Making Art Every Day to combat, to overcome all those things that get in your way and all those fears and things that you have. Like, I don't know what to draw. Okay, here, draw this. What else you got? Like, what's stopping you from making art? I want to know so that I can help you overcome that. Like and I don't know how to draw that. So, okay, well, let's make a tutorial. Here's some resources. Here's some inspiration. I just want to like help you overcome whatever is stopping you from making art. So that's what that is all about. I showed this earlier in the video, so maybe if you missed it, whoever asked, Gabriel, I think, you can go back and watch. But I have a drawing prompt generator, which gives you just like a funny random idea, just randomly puts words together. And then the other thing for me personally that I do is anytime I have an idea of something that I could draw, or like something I want to make into art, I have like a list. I use Evernote a lot, which is an app, to write things down and ideas and things like that. And I have a notebook called Things to Art. And anytime I think of something that I could do, I just put it in there because I can't act on every idea that I have all at once. So that is also another thing to do. And then you can go into there and say, oh yeah, that thing I wanted to draw. Maybe I'll try that. And then if you're really stuck, just draw your favorite thing. Like I usually draw a cactus. That's like one of my favorite easy things to draw. So food is also a favorite. Like go back to things you've already drawn too. Let's see. I'll make these smaller. I'm trying to add some like, I don't know, different lions and things here. I don't know, just kind of seeing what I like. And this is, I kind of did something similar. I did last year for making art every day, we did environments. And one of the scenes was Jungle River. And I did a lot of palm trees in this similar style to what I know. So that's kind of where these ideas for how to do the like are coming. Technical term. And I think they look a little dark, but I don't want to go back and redraw them all with a different color. So after I do this one, I'm going to go and edit the colors using hue, saturation, brightness adjustment.
One person was just mentioning, I haven't seen it because I haven't seen it pop up, but tell Lisa the redwood tree on the left is not pointed on the bottom.
I know, I just noticed there, yes. I did notice that actually when I was working, and I was like, oh, I gotta fix that. But you're right, if I notice that, I might miss it later, so I'll just fix it right now. Thank you. That's funny that you noticed too. You must have been watching from the beginning, because when I was talking about making them all pointy, I'm not on the right layer. There we go.
We're not back yet, and that's what I'm just trying to... Okay, we're back on YouTube.
All right, well,
Back on YouTube.
if we're back, sorry about that. I got a phone call. I obviously need to put on Do Not Disturb on my phone before I do these videos, but that was my son's school calling. He's in kindergarten. We've been getting a lot of announcements from the school lately, as you can imagine, so I'll listen to that one later and see what it is. Yeah, we've been out of school since like mid last week, and for the foreseeable future, there's not really an end date on that yet. I'm sure if you have kids, you're probably dealing with something similar right now. It's been interesting. I hope you guys are all coping. We luckily still have, Jeff's mom lives in our town, and she normally watches the kids during the week for a few days. So we still have her, and she's pretty like socially isolated as is. She lives alone, so that's still working out well for us, and we have that support so we can do these videos and do work and stuff like that. So we're very fortunate, but I know a lot of parents are struggling right now. It's hard when you have your kids at home, and even if you want to make art, they might be going crazy and you need to give them attention. So give yourself some time after they go to bed and just do something for you. That's when I do, if I'm not drawing like during my work hours for something like this, it's usually after they go to bed. That's like when I draw the most. So hang in there, I'm with you. So I mentioned I wanted to edit these like blackish kind of marks. And so I'm just gonna go and select that area. I have the green line art and the brown line art on the same layer. So I have to select that portion. And then I'm gonna go to hue, saturation, brightness. And I think I just want it to be, am I in the right layer? Yeah, more saturated. Maybe, I don't know, it's kind of hard to see. When they're already a dark desaturated color, it's hard to like just bump up the saturation like crazy. So sometimes you have to do it twice. So I already bumped up the saturation a ton. Now I'm going back in and turning it up even more. And it's slowly, it's a little more saturated now, a little less like blacky looking, and I think I'm pretty happy with that. So if it's not getting as bright as you want it to through that adjustment, just do it a bunch of times until you get it to how you want it. Cool. So I think those look pretty good. I don't know if I want to add more line art to anything, but these kind of feel out of place maybe now. So I don't know. Maybe I'll try something on the tree over here and see how that looks. I'm trying to decide what. Maybe I could just do some like some lines like that. So I'm gonna select this color. I'm gonna probably go darker. A darker green, and I'm still using the Gritty Tilt liner brush from Gouache Paintbox. It's one of my favorites. It's got a lot of awesome texture to it, and the texture you can, if you hold your pencil straight up and down, there's a lot less texture, but if you tilt it to the side, you get more texture. So that's why it's called the Gritty Tilt liner, because it uses tilt very well to do stuff like that. So I'm just, maybe I'll look up a picture of a tree, like a pine tree or a redwood tree. I'll do pine tree. I think this, and that might give me an idea for what I want that texture to look like. Maybe I won't do it at all. I don't know. Why are they so small? I don't know. Any ideas, guys? I don't want to try and go for super realistic, because I just don't. Maybe I won't do anything. I don't know. I'll try. I'll just maybe do that. You know what I'll do? I'll do something like that. Little like short little strokes. And if I don't like this, I'll just erase it because it's on another layer. It's not affecting what I've already drawn. I'll get rid of that. But I think that looks kind of cool. I like that. Sometimes you just gotta try something. Might not work. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. That's what making art every day and making art in general is about. It's experimenting. I kind of like this. So now, like, I really like it. I might do trees like this in the future if I ever have to draw like a pine tree, a redwood tree or something, Christmas tree, I don't know. I'll remember that I did this that one time and I liked it. Cool, it looks kind of furry, but I like it. So the only other thing that's kind of still jarring to me is like how much contrast there is in the texture of the snow. So I think what I'm going to do is go to the mountain layer and choose like a light gray and paint in something. We'll just use the brush stroke brush. It's pretty soft. And just kind of lighten that contrast a little bit. Does that make sense? Still on alpha lock, good, okay. Yeah, maybe even lighter than that. Cool. Yeah, that's a little bit better to me. It was just a little too much contrast in that texture. But that kind of takes it down a little bit, so it's a little better. Cool, I like that a lot. I think the only other thing I want to do is add some like sunshiny marks there. So I'm gonna go back to this layer I've been using to do all my line art. I'm gonna get a yellow. I'm gonna get my Gritty Tilt liner again.
I love Gabriel. Gabriel's put a goat on the top of the mountain. Only there were goats in Yosemite. I think.
Well, this isn't Yosemite. This is just random stuff.
True. I guess
But
you could put a goat.
I don't know if I want to draw a goat today. So now I'm just adding some like, I don't want it that close together. Just like short little strokes with a flicking motion. I know I could keep going and add cute little details and things like, that's a good idea. I like the goat idea, Gabriel. But sometimes it's about when to say I'm good. And I'm really very happy with this actually. It's really turned out better than I thought it would. Honestly. Do I need a sunshine coming out the side there? I don't know. Maybe. I think this one is too, not the right angle. There we go. Awesome. Okay, cool. So it's looking pretty good. The only other thing I need to do is add the word nature, which is going to be a little challenging because if I write over these, there's already a lot of contrast between the blue and the brown. So if I add like white or something text over it, or I don't know if I want to do black. We'll see. I'm just gonna play and see what it looks like. So I usually try to write the words over like an area that's all one color, so it's easier to do, but I don't have that in this drawing. So I'm gonna try the dry Supreme brush, which I use to do this mountain snow stuff. I'm gonna get like a dark color and see how that looks. I'm just writing it out like really crappily right now. It's not bad, but there's...
Sorry.
I'm gonna try... Am I on a new layer? Okay, I did create a new layer to do this on, so... And I'm gonna try like a light color.
Doodles, she does know what you guys are writing on YouTube. We're absolutely trying to watch here and Facebook.
Not too bad.
Well. So we're slowly answering questions as we can.
Are we getting a lot of questions roll by?
We just had a good one, just saying, Riley's saying, hey, you should make an adult coloring book with your designs.
Oh, I don't know if I could do that. I think it'd be really hard for me to draw something only in black and white. But not a bad suggestion.
Yeah, I mean, color is Lisa's life. Color is our life, really. So
I know. I'm like, I would just want to
color.
color it in before I published it. You know, I think the white isn't too bad. It's still legible. So I'm gonna go with that and try it out. Where's my sketch?
It looks we got a great comment. It's just awesome over on Instagram that we're live now. Just saying, your video seems to be my next ASMR video to get into sleep.
I don't know how to take that.
Soothing voice.
Oh, okay. I'll take that. I'll take that.
Go for it.
Soothing voice. I kind of like this brush. I'm gonna keep using it for this.
And then we did just have someone ask, can you spend some time this week showing off your different go-to lettering styles? Which is a great question, but we really should use that as a way to, well, we need to answer that question, but we should talk about what we're doing on Friday and how we're trying to get that all figured out as well.
Yeah, so not exactly lettering related, but we've been trying to do these live videos every day to like get all the technical kinks worked out, because on Friday, I want to do a live workshop for you guys. Basically, I just did a conference and I taught a workshop, like a real in-person workshop to a bunch of really awesome women in Palm Springs at the Alt Summit conference. And it was really fun. They had a really good time, and I just kind of like taught them Procreate basics, and it was really great. So I want to do a online version of that workshop for you guys for free. So we're trying to get that set up for Friday. It will probably be in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably do it around this time.
10:30 or 11.
10:30 or 11 or so. I'm gonna send out an email to my newsletter subscribers about it for sure. So if you want to subscribe at bardobrush.com, there's like a little pop-up about the newsletter. You can do that, and I think it'll be really fun. It's should be like, I don't know, like an hour maybe, and we'll draw a really cute illustration, and then it'll show you a lot of the different Procreate tips and tricks and stuff like that. I plan on doing it with the built-in brushes that Procreate comes with, not any of my brushes, because I want you guys to be able to follow along exactly if you don't own any of my brushes. So that'll be a great way to kind of play with what Procreate has. So stay tuned for that. Anything else I need to say about that?
No, I think that's really it. I mean, if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, get on the newsletter, because that's how we're going to let everybody know.
Definitely sign up for the newsletter.
And that is completely free, and I'll throw that in just so you.
And if you sign up for the newsletter, you'll also start getting the Making Art Every Day emails. So you'll get to see what those look like. They only go out once a week, and they have some, the first part is some motivational thing that I write, and then we've got prompts and also like how to approach the prompts. So I think they're good emails. I'm proud of them. I'm gonna turn off my sketch layer again. Cool, so there we go. I think I'm done, you guys. I'm pretty happy with this. The only thing I probably could do, but I probably won't, I could add some texture to the background, but I think I'm okay with that being like more of a flat, like digitally flat color. I think I added some texture to my waffle background, but I haven't done it for all of this series of illustrations, so.
And I don't think you haven't showed off kind of where
Hi,
you're
Siri.
at with everything, so we haven't even seen the series.
Yeah, so okay, go away, Siri. No, we weren't talking to you. I said series, not Siri. Okay, so yeah, that's looking pretty good. I am going to export this now because I can go ahead and drop it into the book that I've been working on. So I'll show you what that looks like. Because I plan on printing, this is an ABC series, and I'm printing it into a book to give my kids, and I've kind of been trying to hide it from them. They've seen a few of the illustrations, but I'm trying to make it a surprise. So I'm gonna go to share. I'm doing it as a PNG. PNG or JPEG are both good. PNG is like, it doesn't compress like JPEG does, but honestly, you won't be able to really tell unless you're getting crazy about it. So I'll just do PNG. I'm gonna save image. Cool, and so that's saved to my camera roll. So I am using Mixbook to print my book. I'm actually partnering with them for this month to get you guys a discount code so you can print your books out for 40% off the regular price. So I'm gonna go to their website and show you what I've been working on. Did you have a question?
No questions. Yes, Gabriel, the absolutely amazing syrup octopus. We were talking about the syrup octopus earlier today and last night. So.
Yeah, if you watched yesterday, I drew waffles and I put syrup on the waffles and it ended up looking like an octopus. You'll see that in my book that I'm working on. So this is the Mixbook website. They do like all kinds of printed products. Books are kind of their main thing, but they also do other stuff. And like most of them come with like, they don't see it here, but like themes with like designs and stuff like that. But you can also just create like a blank canvas book and just fill it with your own artwork, which is what I'm doing. So I'm going to like my projects. I've already been working on this book for a while. Like every time I finish a picture, it's like really exciting and I put it in the book. So it's like already like mostly designed. So I'm going to go to edit so you guys can check it out. Okay, so I haven't done a cover yet. So you guys, I have one more illustration to do at this point. I just finished nature. I have to do T, which is gonna be trains. And then I'm gonna do some kind of a cover. I think I'm gonna call it like, well, I already wrote it on here, a few of our favorite things, and maybe do like a picture of my two kids, like an illustration of their faces. I haven't decided yet, I gotta figure it out. So here I've uploaded all of my artwork so far, and I'm going to add in the one that I just finished. So you actually want to do add from desktop, even though I'm on an iPad. Go to the photo library, and now I go to all photos, and there's the one that I just finished. So I tap that and tap done, and it's going to start uploading. And while that's going, I'll show you what I have so far. So that's the front cover. This is the first page. We have A for art. They love doing art. I've got some stickers. I love stickers. My daughter definitely loves stickers. That's her favorite. My son is always collecting little things like toilet paper tubes and random boxes and packaging, and he just makes these like crazy sculptures out of them. So brother is, I am currently pregnant with a boy. I am 32 weeks, something like that. Like less than 2 months to go. We're getting there. And they're really excited to meet brother. No name yet, just brother. So B is for brother, C is for Charlie, our dog. D is for donuts. We all love donuts in this house. E is for economics. I just posted this one on my Instagram today. I don't know if you guys watch Forky Asks a Question on Disney Plus, but there's this scene with economics, and my two kids love like playing the different parts, and they go back and forth and they like do the whole script, and it's really cute. So I thought it was fun. Economics was Jeff's idea, actually. F is for family. That's a picture of our family, and then the cousins and aunts and uncles and grandparents. My kids both go to gymnastics. This is our house. You can see our doggy in the window. I is for It's a Small World. We love Disneyland, and this is one of one of our favorite rides as a family. J is for Japan. My son is really obsessed with Japan and asks to go all the time. So we do want to plan a trip to go once all this stuff dies down, I guess. Who knows when that's going to be. And then we have a koi pond, and we have 8 fish. We've had the 2 big ones for a while, Tony and Artfish, and then the little ones are Fred, Wilma, Cosmo, Sunny, Pink, and Olive. So we have 8 now. Lego, my son loves Lego. My daughter loves Lego too, just not quite as much as he does. And we have been watching the Lego Masters show. I don't know if you guys watch that, but it's really fun.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's like a Lego building competition, and they build all these crazy Lego creations, and they're just mind-blowing. So M is for mermaid. I think I showed you guys that at the beginning. I just finished this one last night. My daughter likes to pretend she's a mermaid when she's in the bathtub. So M is for mermaid. What next? Here we go. This is where N is going to be. So I will just drop that in. So there's my picture, and I'm just going to use my finger, and I just plop that in. So now that it's in, when you put, I have my images all full bleed, which means they go to the edge of the paper, and a part of the image will get cropped off a little bit. So I think I might go back later and move the word nature up a little bit just to account for that. But if your art, you can't do that, or it doesn't make sense to do that, and you're using this software, you can go to layouts and then choose this layout instead, which puts a white frame. So this is the full bleed one. This is the one with the frame, or there's even a thinner frame. So if you don't want as much of a border, that's a good way to do it, so you can see all of the artwork and not worry about cropping. So I'm gonna do full bleed, and I'll go back and fix it later. Photos. O is for orca. One of my son's favorite stuffed animals is an orca, and he loves it a lot. P is for Paris. It's one of our favorite places to go on trips to. Queen Elsa is Q. I was very happy with that for Q, because Q is a difficult letter, and I'm like, Queen Elsa, yes! My daughter is obsessed with Frozen. They both love rainbows. My son, they both do love sushi. My daughter doesn't actually eat the sushi. Does she eat sushi? Sometimes she'll eat the sushi.
Bit of raw fish.
My son goes crazy for sushi. But we all like going out to eat sushi or ordering in or whatever. And he loves these with the fish roe in it. He's obsessed with that one in particular.
Yeah, he will literally devour fish eggs. And
yeah, it's so funny.
Else.
So 6-year-old, sushi loving 6-year-old. Okay, this one's gonna be trains. We have trains that go by our house frequently that we see all the time, plus toy trains. So that's gonna be the toy trains. U is for unicorns. She definitely loves unicorns. V is for video games. We love playing video games or watching each other play video games. So it's kind of a family thing. Sometimes it's an individual thing.
What's the weird duck game you're playing right now?
Oh, no, it's a goose.
Or goose.
So we have a Nintendo Switch, and we're playing, I don't know if you guys have heard of the Untitled Goose Game. That's my game that I'm playing. I don't play a lot of video games. But I really have been enjoying that game. So if you play it, shout out. It's pretty fun and hilarious. You're just a goose that has all these tasks to basically go around this neighborhood and annoy people. It's really funny. And there's the waffles. It's that's the
That's it, Gabriel.
There's the octopus syrup. Yeah, I didn't sketch it out when I started, so it kind of started looking like an octopus, but it still looks like syrup, so we're going with it. And then XOXO I did for X. X is a hard letter, but I was XOXO, easy. And hugs and kisses. They love hugs and kisses, so. Y is for Yoshi. That's my son's favorite character. I think Elsa's Ellie's favorite character, and Yoshi's Bear's favorite character. And then Z is for Zoo, and that's the end. And I kind of want to put a note to them in the book. I might add that in, where I just write them a little note and love mom or something like that, so they have that in the book. I could write that by hand later, but yeah, so that's where we're at. Maybe we can take a few more questions if there's more questions.
Well, just with where we're at now, I got a couple others that I want to get over back to.
Yeah.
What book format is this on the site? Someone was just asking.
That's a good question. I didn't talk about that. So where can I see that? I got to order. Okay, so I am. Oh, well, this works too. I am. Jeez. Okay, I'm gonna go to my projects. Okay, so I'm using the 8.5 by 8.5 photo book. So the discount that I'm getting for you guys, which I'll put into this week's email newsletter, which is 40% off your first book from Mixed Books if it's a 6 by 6 square or 8.5 by 8.5 photo book, a square book. They also have other deals and things like that if you wanted to do different size. So just check their site because it seems like they always have some kind of a cool deal going on. So that's what I'm doing, 8.5 by 8.5 photo book square.
Then we had a good one that I wanted to come back to that we missed earlier. We talked about it a little bit, but just, as we're finishing up, just talking about what do we do when you're in a creative slump? This virus has me thinking I should draw, but I can't seem to feel drawing right now.
Yeah.
I know that's something that, Lisa and all of us have struggled over time when it just comes to anxiety and things that are, driving us crazy or complicated.
So the question was like, what do you do when you're in a creative slump and you just don't feel inspired to draw with everything that's going on? I know a lot of people are feeling that way and having a lot of anxieties. Like, it's definitely been hard for me to fall asleep every night, but I'm usually like that. So this just kind of adds to it. Well, I mean, first of all, I think creativity is a form of self-care, and it's good for your mental health to have that, not just creative expression, but just the act of creating something is therapeutic. But it is also a good way to express how you're feeling. So I think I had something on Facebook or something, anyways, but this person really all they wanted to illustrate was just F word coronavirus. And I'm like, dude, yeah, do it. That's what you're feeling. Get it out, illustrate it. But also if it's too hard to draw and it feels like a task that's not going to be helpful for your mental health, you don't have to do it. Do what's best for you. If you need some just quiet time to not, do that, that's fine too. So do what's best for you, but do things that, will either make you happy. If it's an image that makes you happy, do that. Or if it's something that will help you express how you're feeling, whatever emotion that is, get that out too. So, yeah.
Yeah. And it's okay. It's okay if you're not doing the prompts. It's okay if you're not doing anything but, drawing stick figures, if that's what you can get to. Just finding whatever you're feeling in a way to just get it down, even if it's pen and paper for a minute, even if it's just writing some words,
Yeah, I mean, you can doodle, scribble, just colors, laying out brush strokes, anything. There's no right or wrong way to, make art every day. It can be a bunch of scribbles on a paper, and that's totally fine too. If you're really angry, get a crayon and just get it out. It's okay.
And then someone asked, just because we did export a minute ago, how do you make sure the image isn't out of focus when exporting?
Well, it really shouldn't be. That's why I use a high resolution canvas. My canvas is 5,000 by 5,000 pixels. So I can print this pretty big. I can print it as a big wall piece if I wanted to. And I'm just printing 8.5 by 8.5. So, I'll show you something about canvases. Let me go out of here. So if you go to the plus, you can create, I have all these canvas templates, and you can create a new one, and I just want to show you. So pixel size is really what you want to focus on. If you're working in pixels for the size of your canvas, you don't really need to worry about DPI. But if you're working in inches, if I wanted to make 8.5 by 8.5, 300 DPI is like the most that you could possibly need as far as like getting the resolution to be the best for print. But then of course you can only print at 8.5 by 8.5. You can go as low as like 240, 200 and it'll still look pretty good. So like 300 isn't the, like it has to be 300. You can still print at a lower DPI and it looks good too. It really depends on how closely somebody will be looking at your piece of art. So if it's a billboard, if you got close to a billboard, you would like see every pixel and it would look super pixelated, but because we see them from so far away, it doesn't matter. Like our eyes see it as a nice clean image. So for a book, we'd want to have, you know, probably 300 DPI because it's right next to our faces. But for maybe something that's a wall piece, it doesn't matter as much. I have printed 12 foot by 10 foot from a Procreate drawing, like a big backdrop. And I think, I have to scroll through everything to find it.
On Insta?
Yeah.
It's a year ago.
Yeah. You can see it in my Insta story highlight my husband and I we've done like a couple art installations for a place in town, or a few different places. But one of them was for an Elton John, his farewell tour, concert tour. We got to build this awesome like photo booth experience, and I drew the background for it in Procreate, and all the concert goers got to interact with it. It was really cool. So you can find that in my like Lisa Bardot Instagram account story highlights. But yeah, so I think I explained that about canvas sizes, but I generally just work in pixels, and I usually do a canvas that's at least like 4,000 or 5,000 pixels on one side, and that's fine for anything. Like I can crop it down, it's no big deal. I can print it really big if I ever decide to, so it gives me a lot of flexibility, but you know, you don't have to go that big.
And it looks like we've almost, that's almost our last question. I got one real quick from YouTube just saying, hey, can you show me how to draw a body? Not a realistic one, but like an anime style one. It's a great question, but we do have coming up in July?
Yeah, I've been planning out the rest of the year since the beginning of the year. And I have a series called People Skills, which is on YouTube and also at bardobrush.com/people. And that website has it goes through all the different body parts. Actually, I can bring it up. I forget I can just show you guys stuff. Oops, if I could spell. Oh, Brody Jenner. bardobrush.com/people. I have a jingle, did you know? I don't. No, that's not right.
Hello, Germany. Hello, England. It looks like we got a few more Europeans hanging out with us on Insta and some other places. I'm glad we're doing
Thanks
this
for joining in
for you guys as well.
So yeah, I'm glad we had our childcare figured out today, and we could actually start earlier than the afternoon. We're in Pacific time. We're in California, so I'm glad you guys are here. So this is People Skills, and I have a bunch of different lessons. You start with eyes, nose, mouth, and you kind of work on each feature and then putting it all together. Week 2 is expressions, so working on how to express different emotions. And then we started working on limbs and appendages, and I got to feet, and then I didn't finish, but these are coming on later in the year. I'm going to finish this series. So the next one's legs, and then we'll work on bodies and poses and stuff like that. So it's really to help you learn how to draw so that you can stylize it in your own way. And these first videos, especially eyes and nose, really focus on you practicing stylizing it and figuring out your way that you want to draw an eye or a nose or a mouth. And putting this series together actually really helped me figure out my style of drawing people, which I used in that drawing of my whole family. That's kind of the way I draw people right now, which I didn't really have a way I draw people prior to creating this series. So I learned a lot by making it. You guys will learn a lot by doing it. You can see if you go into each lesson, it tells you about it, kind of this is all kind of described in the video, but there's like an assignment for you to work on where you draw like a bunch of different eyes, and there's a Pinterest board to give you like some ideas about different ways to draw eyes and little tutorials and things like that. So there's a lot of really good resources. That's a pretty robust like educational thing. So I would check that out for sure. Any more questions?
Thank you. Real quick, hi Lebanon, hi Bay Area.
Oh,
we're all
Bay
locked
Area.
down with you guys. We're in Sacramento.
Yeah, Sacramento. We're in Sacramento, California. They just announced pretty much a similar lockdown to San Francisco, who they're just down to like, you know, what is it? Grocery stores, pharmacies.
Yeah, what are we? Ours are
takeout only,
we're not
restaurants.
shelter in place. What are we called?
We're
it's the same
stay
thing.
home directive.
Stay
That's
home,
what they call
yeah.
it in Sacramento.
Keep your butts home, which we have
Yeah.
been doing. We're
Yeah.
very lucky that we have childcare. That is my mother, who only comes to our house, and I have to do her grocery shopping and everything. I'm the only one who leaves the house. Is me.
Yeah, and I'm
for
not going.
emergencies.
I'm pregnant. I'm not going anywhere. Like, I need to go on some walks around the neighborhood, but yeah, trying to just play it as safe as possible, because we just don't know how pregnant women are affected right now. And, you know, you gotta think of this baby.
Yeah.
But I'm an introvert, so it's not hard for me. Like, I enjoy it. I'm like, oh, I have to stay home for a few months? Darn. I'm actually okay with that.
And before we take off, I have one more thing. Just as we've had the question come up a couple times, Izzy was just asking, which is your screen protector? Where can I get one?
Yeah, I talked about it earlier in the video, but I do link to the one I use, which is just a matte glass screen protector on my FAQ page, bardobrush.com/FAQ. And I have a link to the one that I purchased.
And then within the next couple days, we actually have a whole bunch of the Paperlike products to test out.
Yeah, Paperlike sent me some of their products, so I'm gonna try those out on a live video coming up soon. So look out for that.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
Yeah, I think that's. I don't see any other new big questions
I'm gonna bring that.
coming up. So thank you, everybody. We really appreciate everyone coming to hang out with us.
Yeah, so this I'm doing these lives because I'm encouraging people to stay home and draw, but most importantly, stay home. And just so we can all stay safe right now, and not spread this thing that's going around. And hopefully we should be back again tomorrow. Yeah?
Yeah, we'll be back again around the same time tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then more importantly, if you're not on the email list, that's the big one, you guys, because we really want everyone to join in on Friday. It's literally designed to be a follow along. So
Yeah.
get your iPads, get your Apple Pencils or your styluses.
Yeah, so yeah, sign up for the email newsletter so you can hear about what we're doing on Friday. Like Jeff was saying, it is something for you to follow along and draw with me. And that way you can learn a bunch about Procreate and then have something cute at the end that you drew. So it's a really awesome way to learn some tips and tricks in Procreate. We kind of go over like all the basics of Procreate. So especially if you're a newcomer to Procreate, it's really good. But I think even if you've used it for a long time, you'll still learn a lot. So I hope that you can join us. That will be on Friday in the morning around 10:30-ish.
Do you want time for one more little thing real quick?
What little thing?
Just, we had a question about multiply effect.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we're real quick, and just so everyone who doesn't know, we're on Insta, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, streaming all of this at one time. So we just had, I know it pops up a couple times, I missed it earlier, but just the question was, can you explain a little bit about the multiply effect?
Yeah. So I'll just do this. This might be our last question, maybe. So I'm just gonna draw on this. I'm just gonna have a basic brush. All right, so I've drawn a thing. It's a circle. I think you knew that. And now I will create another layer and draw another thing, which is another circle. This kind of looks like the Discover logo. I didn't mean for that. Okay, so now the way layers work, like if you draw with an opaque brush, it'll cover up whatever's underneath it. So the blend modes, if you go to the little N icon on a layer, it's this list of stuff. If you don't have Procreate 5, this will probably look a little bit different, but I'm working in Procreate version 5. And basically each of these modes affect the way that this top layer interacts with the layers below it, like all of the layers below it. So let's see. And the best way to go through and see what they do is just by scrolling through. But multiply will, basically it makes light colors transparent. And darker colors will, I don't know, I gotta think of some better language to better explain it, but it will darken whatever's like underneath it. So if I were to draw with a very light color, like this really light yellow, it's not gonna darken it a ton. Like this yellow has a little black in it, so it darkens it a little bit. If I choose white, it's gonna look like absolute, oops, I gotta do it over in here. Like this white even has a little bit of black in it, so it darkens this color. Whereas if I had the blend mode turned off to normal, it would look like that. And then if I tried a different blend mode with like screen turns, it lightens anything that it's placed on. So if it's a light color, it'll lighten it a lot. If it's a dark color, it'll lighten it a little. If it's black, it's just gonna look like completely transparent. You can see I don't have exactly black. You probably can't see that on camera. But so the lighter the color is, the more that it lightens. And then there's lots of other blend modes that do other things too. But you get more familiar with them the more you use them. Like this changes the hue of whatever's underneath it to the hue of whatever's on top of it. So I use multiply a lot for shadows, because if I wanted to add a shadow to this, I would just choose like, there's lots of different colors you can use. Maybe like a light color. And it, let me do another layer. I'm gonna do another layer, put on multiply. And it will darken everything that's underneath that layer. So it darkens both layers now that I have two layers underneath it. Does that make sense? And the lighter color will darken it less. And I can even blend those together if I wanted. I probably don't. I don't use this smudge tool a lot. It's not my fave, but I like kind of a graphic style of art, so. This is beautiful. So I hope that explains it better. I definitely, on my list of tutorials to make, is about blend modes and like what to use them for and how they work and stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of a rundown of how that works.
Hope that helps, Sylvia. So thanks again, you guys. Everyone, stay safe. We appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. I hopefully will see you tomorrow. I'm not sure what I'm drawing tomorrow, but I'll figure it out. But stay safe out there, and happy art making. Keep up being creative. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.